Hey everybody, welcome to the Mile High Mentors podcast. Connor Doobie here, your host each and every single episode. Very excited to have you here. Really appreciate you tuning in. Do not forget to subscribe. Before you leave, please leave us some feedback. Leave us your reviews. Leave us your comments. Absolutely love to hear from you guys, and really appreciate it when you give us a shout on social media, on Instagram, when you come and give me a shout. Like I mentioned, I absolutely love to hear from you guys, and we cannot continue to make this a great platform without your feedback. So again, you're awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. By the way, do you sell products or services business to business? Well, our partners over at Active Blogs are putting on a webinar. Every week, you can check it out. You have the opportunity to win a tropical vacation as well. Just for attending, you can go learn more about how to market your business on LinkedIn, build your brand, create more sales opportunities. That is at activeblogs.com/webinar. Again, activeblogs.com/webinar. It's called The Missing Links to LinkedIn Success. Highly recommend checking it out. So, our guest today is a good friend of mine. I've known this dude for years. Mr. Blake Burrows is the definition of a hardcore entrepreneur. This guy is really impressive, and I've loved just watching him grow since I've known Blake since high school, actually. And just a really great guy, really genuine, has an awesome family, lots of great history building businesses and companies together. And I tend to get a little bit of a potty mouth when I'm around Blake, so sorry, Mom, for if you're listening to this. Additionally, we had a couple of technical glitches, so if you're listening to the podcast and there's like an awkward cut in the middle, just understand Julius is just had a child, and so I'm kind of doing this thing on my own for the time being, and I'm learning. We're grasping this thing as we go. But yeah, hope you get lots of value. Recommend checking Blake's company out if you're looking for any custom screen printing stuff. And his story is actually, it's fantastic. I mean, he literally goes out of his way to help people and to make sure that his business's doors stay open and make sure that his employees are in an incredible workspace. So without further ado, please welcome Blake Burrows to the Mile High Mentors podcast.
Check me out. Yeah.
So I had a guest on the show at it's like 3 or 4 guests ago, and he had me thinking, because he was like, you the whole, you millennials, like, you don't dress up anymore or stuff like that. I'm like, it's true. We don't, like, none of us dress up anymore. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. So I put more thought into it. I'm like, why not? Like, why not do it for a year or something like that? Yeah. So
because I remember you saying for the next year, I'm wearing a freaking coat, man, every day for the next year. I remember you saying that.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I love it. If I wasn't in such an environment that was,
I know, you're printing
and
clothes
it's like,
and shit.
Well, at the end of the day, and I kind of have two my thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, two thoughts about it also. I'm like, there's a couple ways, because people will look at you, think that you're that corporate world, freaking, my shit don't stink, everything's great. And
it's not even about that. It's just whether you're not
the judgmental people just suck, dude. And that's why, and like, I could give two shits about them. And I have plenty of stories about people that have freaking judged me my whole life and don't know anything about me. That's the best part about it.
It's just part of being a human being.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And I mean, you'll hear in my whole story about this place is just, everybody thinks this was given to me by the upper
Pops?
hand, by Pops.
Yeah.
Man. And,
well, we can get into that too, because I'm in a family business as well.
Dude, no.
So that's why
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
And you got to take it for what it's worth. I saw your post the other day. Your dad's birthday, and I'm like, dude, people don't understand how fucking cool it is to not only, like, my dad's leaving right now. I'm like, dude, how the fuck are you eating? Where are you eating? Dude, like, what's up? Like, dude, our relationship is so different than so many other people.
Right.
I mean, you just can't beat
I totally
the
get
good,
that.
the bad, the ugly, because you get when you're in business with somebody like that. My dad didn't get ownership in Top Shelf until about 2.5 years ago. But when you're in business with somebody like that, dude, like, we've had some freaking conversations that nobody wants to have, dude.
Right.
And
It's
you always
different
come out
when
and
it's with family. It's
dude.
totally different.
Yeah,
'Cause you
and
can
my
go
whole family
like,
works for me.
Yeah,
you know?
you can go at each other and go at each other's
Yeah.
throats, and then you're back.
still
You're
family,
fine.
dude.
And
You
yeah,
have
you're still
to.
right.
I mean,
exactly.
Thanksgiving dinners and stuff, and people always ask, like, how's all that work? And I'm like,
It's great.
it don't freaking matter, man. Business
Right.
is business, and it's gonna happen. Like, my dad, outside of here, because he's been sober. He been sober 25 years and stuff.
Wow.
So, like, business is his coping.
Uh-huh.
And so for when we're outside of business and stuff, like, dude, he's always, what's next? What are we doing next? Like, and me, I'm like, I gotta shut it off a little bit, because we always will get into those deep things, because we're in this business together, and then we're in multiple other businesses together, and which is good, because he's taught me so much stuff, man. He's he brings a completely different atmosphere, a completely different teaching source to what we do every day.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it really fun. Just because it's, two completely different generations. Just as you are with your pops.
I was always drawn to you in high school, because I knew you had that like entrepreneurial thing, and I always, like, when I was young, my dad has a business, and I knew your dad has a business. Yeah. And you're driving around with a sweet ass car, all high school. But yeah, man, it's like it's a different world.
It is,
and when you grow up in that world,
dude.
And people think that you're just like, people think I get paid less than any of our employees. I get paid for producing. Dude. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So when I started in this industry as a whole, as you said, my dad owned a company. He owned a embroidery screen print company for 20 years.
Right. Which wasn't Top Shelf.
Wasn't Top Shelf. It was Majestic West.
And that's gone now? It's not Majestic West?
Yeah, so it's Majestic West is gone. And basically how all that happened was, so I worked for my dad, same thing. I worked for him in the summers and pulling shirts and all this stuff. I had 3 other
buddies. Keep talking. I just want to make sure this.
Yeah, no, do your thing. I had 3 other buddies that all worked for my dad that made $4 more than I did an hour, dude. So, I got taught the same way that you're talking about right there. I'm like, I'm making $7. I think back then it was $7 or $7.25 minimum wage. That's what I was making every summer. It didn't matter.
Was this in high school?
Yeah, so this was high school summers. Okay. And I will warn you, I do get passionate too, so you might have to take out some F-bombs and stuff, because I'm...
Bring it out, man.
The way I talk, dude,
if you listen to the last guest I had with Keenan, he just drops F-bombs. Yeah. Like, he's in the corporate world. Yeah. He's in the space that I am, selling to technology companies and stuff like that. I liked
his, dude. The sales.
He's a badass dude.
He's solid, dude.
He's a cool dude. Did you listen to the podcast?
I didn't listen to the whole thing.
You'll have to check it out. It was one of my favorites.
I just had seen it yesterday. Yeah. But no, I mean, going back to that, dude, I got paid the same minimum wage as the next person, man. I had 3 buddies that were all 15, 16 years old. They're making $4 more. And back then, you're like, dude, Dad, like, you gotta be kidding me, man. And come to realize, like, those are just some of the best teaching, some of the best learning experiences you can have. And he knew what he was doing, but I had no clue at that age. So I always got the fun, Daddy gave this to you. And like you said, the nice car in high school and stuff, I didn't buy that.
Right.
I can't sit here and say that I was not fortunate, man. I was very fortunate.
But you sure as hell earned your way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was fortunate, man. I grew
up
with an awesome family, and my parents did absolutely everything to make sure that us kids had what we wanted. Mm-hmm. And, he never missed hockey games, never missed, for my sisters, never missed horse shows. Like, my parents had that freedom. And I'm like, holy smokes, man. Like, if there's one thing I want in my life, I want to be able to do what my parents have provided to me. And, the freedom aspect of it was like, dude, this is badass.
Right.
You can't beat this.
That's
that's exactly what we're trying to build. And so in 2008, my dad sold his company to a big investment group. He had 3 locations, one in Colorado, one in Indiana, one in Las Vegas, all that did the same contract printing, embroidery.
Is your dad from Colorado? Is your family from Colorado too?
Yeah, so families, my grandparents came in from Italy on my mom's side.
To Colorado?
Well, it would have been, they came in over Canyon City, so yeah, Colorado, but it's like...
grandparents from Italy to Colorado, that's badass.
And then, so my mom and dad, both born and raised Fort Collins, knew each other their whole lives. And so yeah, my dad graduated. He actually went over to the Navy and fought, for, I think he was in the Navy maybe 8 years or 6 years, and did his time, and then came back and said, I'm going to go to college. This is awesome. Now it's paid for. Went to business school over at CSU, graduated from there, opened a golf shop. He's a big golfer, and opened a golf shop. And how he actually got into our whole industry and the embroidery screen print industry was he realized a huge need that people had golf bags they wanted their initials on, or their logos, or getting it for a present or something, somebody's name. And so he's like, man, this is kind of a niche. I got to figure out if I can do this. And so he got in the industry that way. He ended up buying a little embroidery shop down over, if anybody's from Fort Collins, they know Big City Burrito. That was where his first little shop was back in, it would have been 1990, I think.
Big City's been around for that long?
Well, it was right by that location, so I don't know if Big City was there. But that's where his location was for his first little shop.
In that I got it.
Yeah, so right over, literally right by Big City Burrito. The brain connected now. Yeah. So that's how he got into the industry, man. And then, kind of had that same
just through
story.
Golfing. Yeah, noticed that they wanted embroidered.
He noticed, man, there was a niche here that people wanted golf bags embroidered.
Yeah.
And he's like, this could be awesome. Then he went to Hewlett Packard, kept knocking on their door for months, and he said, I want to embroider some of your guys' polos. And they said, great. And after a long, kind of drilling them, they gave him an order, and it was substantial compared to what he could do. And he's like, holy smokes. Like, he's grabbing my mom. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to, we got to work all night. Let's get this going. And so that's kind of how he got into our industry. And just, same story as myself and my partner, Dan. Like, we started with one little machine, and just kind of as the, as the work came and the, what's the next move and stuff, we kept growing it. And then, like I said, in 2008, he sold to an investment group. He stuck around for a little while, and then they kind of gave him the ultimatum. You either move to Indiana or you move to Colorado, or you move to Las Vegas. And he said, I'm not going to do either. He said, so I'll resign, and I'm going to stick at home with my family. And I'll go on and do whatever I'm going to do next. At that time, he wasn't sure. They said, okay, then you need to shut down Colorado.
Wait, so you had started your own embroidery
Not yet.
thing? Okay, gotcha.
So not yet. We started, so this is 2008, and Top Shelf started in 2010. So just kind of how this whole industry and how I, got involved was, so 2008, my dad was told he had to shut down after he said, okay, well, if you don't want me to keep this location running here in Colorado, I'll shut it down. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm taking off to Lowe's.
Okay.
So I'll be back.
I'm keeping that in too.
Yeah, you better. He runs.
Do you want me to snag that door?
No, he's the only gentleman here. He works midnight shift cleaning and getting all of our presses, oil and everything, and so doing everything at night so that these guys in the morning can really cut to the chase.
Right.
But, yeah, he's funny. He gives me his every move, man. So he knows exactly. If I don't see his car there, I'm like, Lowe's. All right, man. I trust him. So back 2008, they said you got to shut down Fort Collins, and that was the hardest thing. He built this company for 20 years. Had 130 employees at that location, and
wow.
And it was.
And so I'm sorry. What this was 2008.
Yep.
Okay.
And then 2010, Top Shelf, that's when we started. But in 2008, it was...
When did you graduate from Rocky?
10.
In 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so it was right after graduation. Actually, our Top Shelf's first day was September 1st, 2010. And of course, man, we had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I was really praying that my dad was going to be able to get into business with me, and I, all of a sudden we're going to turn this idea into a multi-million-dollar company. And I realized pretty quick when he had sold in 2008, they found out in 2010 that me and Dan were going to start our company. And that was in September, like I said, September 1st, 2010. When they found that out, they called him pretty quick and said, you got to sign a 5-year non-compete. And he's like, legally he had to sign it. There was a document that said he couldn't get into business with us. He couldn't give us any financial help. Him and my mom as well, because she was an owner on the company when they purchased it from him. so me and Dan were like, man, this is awesome. You know,
You're on your own. You're
we're on
literally
our own.
because of that.
And we actually had
Did
this
Dan go to Rocky
conversation.
too?
He actually graduated from Loveland.
Okay.
A couple years older than me.
I think I've met him maybe a couple times,
Yeah.
like back when we were doing the static thing.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
I met Dan around at the old spot that
Yep,
he had.
at the old spot. He
Yeah.
was around, and I mean, ironically, man, I'm super blessed. We knew each other through mutual friends, and we didn't know each other at all when we both signed on the dotted line and said, let's go. We were talking about it today, man. I had $2,500 in my account, so I would have been 18. Just turned 18.
We'll have to do another one. Get Dan in here.
Yeah, that'd be
Do
fun.
like a
man.
round table.
That'd be really fun because
Yeah.
it's fun when we get to talk about this, man. Because we're on our way over to a lunch meeting today, and talking about possible second location and that kind of stuff, and we're obviously penciling it.
Do you like being all the way the hell out here?
No, I mean, it would probably, if I did another location, be out of state.
Yeah.
It would be all regional, probably East Coast side. We were talking about it today. We're like, we both started, and we were thinking about it, we both put we had $2,500 we both put in the bank, and we got a $20,000 line of credit. And mind you, man, at this point, like, my parents couldn't legally be at our facility.
Right.
My dad obviously.
This was right after you graduated high school.
Yeah. So this is September 2000. Yeah, right after I graduated, man. I said I'm gonna go to Front Range. Dan was actually a senior at CSU at that time, and we said, let's do this. So we both put $2,500 in, and we went and talked to a bank, and I don't know how we got this bank to loan us $20,000, but we did. I remember we both put our cards up. And we got this bank to loan us $20,000. And by the first 5 days, $20,000 was gone.
Yeah.
And we're like, whoa.
It's amazing
Man,
how fast you can burn through
Oh,
20
God,
grand,
man.
right?
You're thinking like, dude, we're rich. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, I mean, it was 5 days. We literally talked about this day because as we're talking about another shop, we're like, we reminisce, and it's really fun. So, yeah, I realized pretty quick $20,000 was rough. And just to get this going, our purchase of the equipment was $30,000.
And your dad was just retired at this time?
Yeah, my dad was getting involved in oil and gas, and he had got involved in some equestrian stuff as well on the water side of things. And just because he couldn't help us, he was kind of our best cheerleader and helped me over the phone and was able to give me some pointers and stuff. But other than that, it was kind of like, you guys got to do your thing. So the first 6 months, it was just me and Dan. And we had actually rented my dad's old building, and this is how they found out we were doing this. Was we took the lease over from his old company after they bought it, and what happened was obviously it was 10,000 square foot building. We needed about 1,500 square feet. We had no equipment. We were able to purchase some equipment that his old company didn't want to move, so we had one press and one little embroidery machine. And that was that cost us $30,000, so that's where the $20,000 went pretty quick. So I remember, man, we were, in there scrubbing all this equipment, and we had to actually find somebody to lease out the remaining of the building because we took over the whole lease.
Was this the same building that I had been
building
to
you
before?
were at, yeah,
okay.
Our previous building other than this. So we were that was the building that we started, and it's fun to look at pictures and stuff because. We thought, we're like, man, this is amazing. My dad did it. I can do it. You learn a lot, and it happens pretty quick. I remember, truly after me and Dan decided we were doing this, I remember calling him. I'm having a major anxiety attack. I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, I don't know. What the hell are we doing? It's like, I don't know what the hell we're doing either. So I guess we're going to do this together. And, what the hard part was, me and Dan didn't know each other for shit. And we're like, man, let's go.
How did you two decide that you wanted to go into business together?
Dan had a clothing line just like me.
Okay. What was your clothing line?
Mine was Foreign.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
And his was Foreign, mine was Technique.
Yeah, yeah.
Before that, and then I loved.
Was like a snowboard? Was it like a snowboard brand?
Snowboard base, yeah, with Anthony Aragon. Super good buddy of mine who actually helped us.
Do you still print some of that stuff?
No, you know what? I've pulled stuff up to make some posters and stuff to hang around here. But me and Anthony started that, and then and Anthony was a big asset here for a couple years, man. About a year ago, he moved back up to the mountains, but he got our whole entire sign department, vinyl department. He got that whole entire department running for us. So he left a great legacy when he's like, hey, I'm going to go back up to the mountains and live my dream. And so it's cool, like, because when we started Technique together, I met Dan through mutual friends. I knew of Foreign.
Yeah.
I loved their logo, man. I'm like, this is sick. His branding's amazing. I think we can meet. When we met, my dad still had to shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bring a pretty cool asset here when we talk printing and the ability to, you know, whether it's source stuff from China or my dad had a cut and sew shop in Las Vegas, you know, if he needed jerseys and that kind of stuff. So I'm like, hey, I can bring this to the table, and you got a sick brand. Your following's great. At the time, he was really focused on the wakeboard industry.
Right.
And so I'm like, let's link
Like
together.
snowboard, wakeboard. Yeah.
Let's link together. And so we kind of took off with Foreign together. And that's how we met. I remember leaving Rocky Mountain High School, man, and he lived right over off of Swallow. And I'd go down to his house and we'd peel stickers, or we'd come up with new designs. Some shirts we still have, and I absolutely love it because it's funny to go back and look at
Framed,
that. Oh, yeah,
framed
man.
and hung on the wall.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
it all, man.
Got to.
I still have a lot of buddies, man. We still see a lot of buddies that are running the shirts.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's great because, and we also get those same comments. You know, how's Foreign going? We're like, well, things have changed a little bit.
Wait, is Dan
So-
still involved in this business?
Yep. So Dan's still my partner. He's
Okay.
a partner in this business
That's right.
and
I think you
probably
said
any
that.
other business I do
Yeah.
for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. All
and
from
so- Yeah, all from literally, man. I met him. Ironically, he was, and anybody who was about my age that knows Fort Collins, he was a bouncer at Suite 152 Teen Night. And I was at Teen Night one night, and that's how I met him, man.
That's hilarious.
He had asked me for a chew, and I had one. I was like, yeah, here we go, man. And then the next morning, he happened to be at. He was friends with my sister's roommate.
Yeah.
And I'd seen him. I had met him the next morning at my sister's house, and I said, "Wait a second, man, let's." And then we kind of put everything together, and we're like, "This is cool." But you know, when we started Top Shelf, we still had a very vague understanding of who we both were. It was truly a flip of a coin to know if this business was going to work or not.
Right.
And us being so young, you know, I was 18, Dan was 21. Us being that young, we had no clue. You know, I'm looking at my parents and stuff. They're like, dude, you won't know unless you try it. And, you know, thank God we did try it. So on September 1st, 2010, we said, hey, this is it, man. We got 20 grand. We're rolling it out, and let's go start selling stuff. Our first customer ever was Markley Motors, right off college. Happened to be a great family friend of ours, and really worked out good. Still a customer of ours to this day.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Work the
man.
network, man. Work the network.
Yeah, and so they were our first job ever, and it was 48 shirts, and we messed up all 48 of them.
Are they just local?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, they're just local.
I thought they were a national brand for some reason, but
No, but they, just local, and a great local family. People that we grew up with, also local Northern Colorado since day one. You know, they were the visionaries back when nobody thought anything was going to be of Fort Collins and College Corridor was going to be nothing. And
right.
they
It was
were
all
the,
fields.
Oh yeah, they
and-
were the visionaries that
Dude,
said,
is it
no
not
way.
crazy between, like, when, you know, around when we both graduated
Yeah.
high school here and even Denver? I don't know if you go downtown ever.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it, though. I mean,
No, I mean the
I'm
growth.
yeah.
You can't. I was at the real estate summit a couple weeks ago, man.
Oh,
To
nice.
hear what's going on in Northern Colorado and
It's outrageous.
just the abilities that we have and the people that are coming. It's absolutely something else.
Right. There's so much opportunity.
Oh,
That,
well, and that's exactly it. And
yeah.
you know, your big asset now, I would say, is land. But I mean, you look at what's going on here. I mean, just in our area, and obviously this isn't an area that you frequent too much, but just the housing.
You mean
and
Greeley?
how many people? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't find
But
my way out to Greeley
it's
too often.
Absolutely crazy.
It is.
I mean, even
Yeah.
the 4 years I've been here since we moved from Fort Collins to Greeley.
Do you live in
development
Greeley?
I lived in Greeley for a year, and now I live in Windsor.
Oh, okay.
And the development in Windsor is even crazier than it is in Greeley.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely absurd. So there's just so
and when they
much.
put the hype, have you heard about the Hyperloop?
I was just reading about it yesterday.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was really.
I need to
gonna
get
come-
that guy.
come to real, but-
There's two competitive companies. One of them is an Elon Musk company.
Oh, yeah,
The other
that
one
makes
is a
sense.
local guy here who's competing basically for the contract
No
to do that
way.
stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of crazy. But that's why I start. I see where we're going. That's part of why I wanted to start this
Dude.
platform. Is
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you and some of the people you've linked up with too, man. It's just so. It's impressive, and it's just fun. I mean, it's fun to listen to because it's all over the map.
I just bring people I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Everyone from
From t-shirt printers,
to
tech sales guys.
everyone's
the
got
Hyperloop
a
guys.
crazy,
They all got
unique
stories.
story to tell. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's
But
got
my
stories.
producer, Julius.
Yeah.
Shout out Julius, miss you, brother. He just had a baby.
Oh, no way. Congrats.
So
Boy or girl?
Boy,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Little
That's
Neff.
awesome, man.
my little Neff. But so we have like a studio space. We have all this fancy. He's got like fancy camera.
Nice.
Honestly, dude, this most of the content that you see all comes
Come
from
from
that
the pod. That's
phone.
sweet, dude.
It works so well.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
So I had to literally go teach myself how to use audio equipment, how to do this,
That's
and
great.
I'm like kind of on my own right now, just solo casting it. But it's been good because I'm more mobile, a little more
See, I
mobile
think that's
now.
great
Like,
too, dude. And I apologize that our schedules haven't linked up until now, but that's all part of. That's all part
dude,
of it, too, right?
don't
Gosh.
apologize. I'm
man.
I'm chasing people like I have scheduled out next year, and I just start talking to them
That's
now.
great.
Like they can't meet with me until like end of next year.
Good,
so
man. That means they're busy, whatever they're doing.
some crazy,
awesome,
some crazy
man.
stuff. Yeah, you'd be surprised who's connected up with Colorado. The
Oh,
top
yeah.
top companies in the entire world, top
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs. We have billionaires that are retired here, and
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's crazy. I
it's
gotta.
interesting.
Yeah, I'll link you up with some other guys that
Yeah.
I know in the community.
Dude,
that
the
are just
Markley Motors guys would be
huge,
interesting.
Yeah, man,
to hear their
huge
story.
community-driven guys, and
Yep.
just done very, very well. But I mean, this whole entire northern Colorado's it's crazy, man. That's why I really love being where we're at too. You know, when you think about access to our business, and a lot of our stuff is, I'd say probably 80% of our business is all shipped out of state, anyways. But our access to I-25, you know, to
The
as
airport.
far as- yeah, I mean it's all straight highways. Even though they're getting more and more crowded, they're all straight highways still.
Right.
And so the Greeley area, man, since I moved here, I moved here about 4.5 years ago, and that's when Top Shelf came to, and then I moved back to Windsor. But nothing but awesome things to say about it. But the Greeley area and the community in Weld County, man, even coming from Fort Collins, and not to ever badmouth Fort Collins because born and raised there. The community in Weld County is so impressive how everybody
Really?
sticks together. Yeah, it was something I'd never seen, you know, and they welcomed, you know, a lot of people, you know, a lot of other Weld County guys helped me kind of get involved in those kind of circles, but the community is unbelievable in Weld County. And as it is in Fort Collins, you just feel like a smaller community here in Greeley because it still is a
Right.
smaller community.
Colorado's just chill people.
yeah,
too.
good
I mean,
people.
I've been all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, Colorado. Always go
can't
go
beat
back to
it,
Colorado.
dude.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
So I've really enjoyed, you know, people ask us, we were super nervous going from North Fort Collins to here, you know, and I
Right.
had no idea. I was the same way. I never came over to Greeley. I really never knew what was going on. I never knew any of the
But
development
being
space. And
here, like your business is all over the
Exactly.
country. It's not
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
limit anything
Yeah. No,
whatsoever.
it's not at
Besides
all,
maybe
and-
the logistics, shipping, and
well,
whatever
but
is
the
gonna
other thing
change
is,
that.
man, you're a 21-year-old kid, like
that is a little
living out
different.
in Greeley by myself, man. I'd
Yeah.
frequent the bar, you know, by myself and see if anybody wanted to come play ping pong in my house. Like I'm like, dude, I'm not in Old Town anymore. I'm not living right there. So it was hard to adapt just personally and everything because Dan was still living in Fort Collins at the time. I moved out to Greeley by myself. I got a little condo and just kind of hung out here. And I'm like, I'll be close enough to the shop if anything were to happen. And I absolutely loved it, man. I'd never take that away because it was great. I got to know a lot of good people around Greeley. And then, you know, after that little over a year, moved over to Windsor, which not far from here, you know, 10-minute drive.
Right.
But it's that perfect median from Greeley and Fort Collins. And everything they have going on in Greeley or Windsor, I'm sorry, everything they have going on in Windsor is absolutely crazy. I mean, it's blowing up. So I think like our general location for Top Shelf has just been, it's been good, man.
How long this has been here?
4 years.
And you built this from the ground up?
So we bought this, and this is another fun story. We bought this from the bank, and growing up, this was an old ice rink. I played hockey growing up, and I played for the team, the Renegades, that were out of this building.
You played hockey in this
Played
building
hockey
that we're in
this
right now.
building that we're in. So when I got in here, we bought it from the bank, and when we got into this building, there was still hockey. It had been bank owned for 6 years. There was still the coaches' offices were all still there. We're rummaging through pictures and stuff and come across some pictures of me and my old buddies that played for the Renegades. And so kind of full circle, man. It was pretty wild because I got to play hockey here growing up, and then we ended up buying this building. We donated all the hockey equipment that was still around to a mountain town. I believe it was Pagosa Springs. So we got to donate everything, and we gutted the whole building and completely rebuilt it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it had been sitting here. You know, it was one of those where graffiti everywhere. They had ripped anything that was worth anything. Somebody'd come in and rip
like
it
all
down.
that hockey equipment and stuff.
They didn't take any hockey equipment. They're a little smarter. They took all the copper that was in here because there's a big freezing system that was here for the ice, and it was all copper driven.
They'll be the banker people just
people, stripping it and
yeah,
bringing it down the road to get some money on it. And so the equipment and stuff was all still here and actually in good shape. It was pretty wild. But I mean, this whole every time I walk in here, man, I think about the days when we were all playing hockey, and before that, it was a roller skating rink, and that was before we ever had any knowledge of it or anything. But so that's kind of our landmark, like the old Warnaco West roller skating rink. And
awesome.
Everybody, if you're from Greeley, you know exactly where that building is, and it's this building right here. So just those fun stories about this building because I had 2 kids walk in here last week, and they said, we just wanted to see what this was. We used to play hockey here. And I go, no way, man, me too. And so I was able to talk to them and walk them through our whole entire, facility. And ironically, down the road, somebody in their family had done business with us anyways. So it was funny because they're like, man, we haven't been here since it was a hockey rink and just want to check it out. And I'm like, man, you're more than welcome. Come reminisce because I get to do it every day, man. And I get to reminisce about all that, all the fun times we got to have. And then
so you have energy here already when you come in every day,
big time. And then not to mention, to kind of look at it and take that step back and see it, see what me and Dan have been able to build, and then later on in our story, my dad was able to get back involved, and so my dad's now a partner. It's myself, Dan, and my dad. They're all 3 partners now. But to take a step back, I mean, the hockey and stuff gives me energy, but what really gives me energy is the the people we have here, the team we have. Thinking back in 2010 when we started, it was 2 of us, and kind of the long road, man. 2012, it was February 7th, I think, 2012. We had 13 employees. At that time, we were $13,000 short for payroll, and so me and Dan, we were like, man, what do? We gotta sell something. So we both ended up selling our cars that day to make. We ended up selling them both. It was my old high school Trailblazer, man.
Yeah.
The old Trailblazer SS.
What are you driving now?
A truck. Driving
a truck?
Toyota Tundra, man.
Those Trailblazers are sweet.
Oh man,
dude.
they're slick. But
I remember when Dakota had your Trailblazer for prom or something like that.
He took it for prom, man.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, he took it for prom.
Oh, that's so funny.
But no, we had that car, man. We had to make payroll one day, and we're like, hey, what do we do? Because again, it was back when there was a non-compete up. I couldn't go to my parents.
Yeah.
I mean, and yes, I know my parents. If they had the money, they would absolutely be like, done deal, get it paid. So I remember we went over. It was about 6:00 at night, and we went over to Peterson Toyota, and we traded our cars in. We were able to get $15,500. So we thought we had freaking hit the lotto, man. We had $2,500 worth of spending money, as far as more equipment or whatever we need to put money into at Top Shelf. So, we have those stories that you never really want to go through until you go through them and you realize how, how they
positive they are in the long run.
How they truly just develop not only you as a person. Me and Dan still laugh about it. Dan sold a dirt bike once. I remember selling lacrosse stuff. I was selling lacrosse helmets and sticks and stuff on Craigslist, trying to get $100 that I could throw into any part of our business that needed funds at that time. And so we have those horror stories that have made me walk into this place now and be like, this is badass, man. We got a great community here. We have great people. to sit back and say 7.5 years ago, it was just me and Dan that were printing shirts, doing artwork, trying to sell. That's the stuff that really keeps me alive when I walk in here. I'm like, this is awesome. This is what's happening right now is what I've always envisioned. That was our 10-year plan, and we're at 5.5 years, and we're like, holy smokes, man, we've grown out of our 27,000 square foot facility here, so now we got to build another 27,000 square feet here, and then talking about another location.
So what is it? What is it that really pushed you to sell your car, sell the $100? What was the big vision that you saw? What was the 10-year goal that you saw?
I think the fun thing is it's still the same vision. Mm-hmm. We're not there yet. We're not to where it. And the cool thing about that success story, or the, a lot of people talk numbers, those revenue numbers, and I'm going to hit this and it's going to be great. I think the best part about it is once you hit that, your satisfaction's not there. What else can I do? What else can I do for somebody? What can I truly fix in our industry to make everybody else's process easier? Mm-hmm. That's how there's no other way to sell to anybody. I don't care if it's selling t-shirts, selling a car. People want ease of process.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in, like, how can we think outside the box? How can we be different? And I truly think if I'm adding an asset to our customers and adding a service that is going to eliminate any time, process, or money of theirs.
Right. But that aside,
yeah.
what's a big life picture? What's the end?
The freedom,
the end
man.
vision?
The same thing that it was that my parents got to do.
And what does that mean?
I want to be able to watch my kids grow up and
you got kids now?
No kids yet, but that's in the vision, No, man, I got an awesome girl in my life, and as we talk about, what's next and kind of how our life's going to unfold, I think about it. I don't want it to ever be too late for me to enjoy life, for me to travel, for me to not miss my kids' not soccer games because they won't play soccer, but hockey games. Nothing against soccer players. There just won't be soccer players that are going to play hockey. Not basketball either, and that's just because they're going to be about 5'4", so they're all screwed anyways.
Is there a girl short too?
Yeah, man. We have that argument all the time. I'm taller than her, but she thinks she's taller than me, so...
I've seen some Instagram pictures.
Yeah,
but she might be wearing heels too.
And she always has this bump hair stuff.
Yeah,
so her hair makes her look
Doesn't
taller.
count.
I think I win. But the big vision is truly that freedom, man. I remember walking in and we said there was no turning back. So it was one of those, like, when you look at back then, it was 13 employees. Mm-hmm. They got to put food on their table, and we had committed to that early on. Was like, we come last,
right? So it was a commitment to the team. It was
a commitment to our team and our business. There was no way that 6.5 months into our business we were giving up, and so that was the underlying part of it. Again, there's always going to be that bad vision on it. At that time, oil was really high, and so there was some trucks. It was 0% down for 30 days. 0% down, 0% for 30 days. So I didn't have to. I could drive off the lot with a brand new truck. Didn't have to put any money down, and I could find 30 days on how I was going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So me and Dan left the lot with brand new trucks after just selling our cars. Again, in everybody's mind, it was, man, everything must be really good. They just have these brand new trucks.
You just forced yourself.
I just forced myself into another
producing.
payment, but I bought myself 30 days to do it.
Right.
So it's the same thing of, like, I know in 30 days I got to start making these truck payments, but I have done what I needed to do, and that was make sure that my payroll was covered tomorrow. So that was, those are the things that got us by.
From the outside looking in.
From the outside
it's
looking
always
in,
easy
everything's
from the outside
pretty,
looking
man.
in, right?
Everything is so great, and it's funny because he had a black Tundra, same truck as me, and I had a white one. And so, we got even more shit for just having the same trucks, different colors. So of course, man, it was like, but from the outside looking in, just as you said, man,
right.
Everybody thought that the full stories of just, why
being an entrepreneur
is tough, and the one thing is it has great success, man. There's so many good things that come out of it, but it's those stories that, you know, brought me and Dan to a different level in our, you know, partnership as far as business goes, and our friendship, and just the loyalty to the both of us, you know. I said, hey, I'll sell my car. Boom, I'll sell my car. Let's get it done. You know, there was no question. It was never, you know, well, I don't know. Like, what are we going to do if we don't have cars? It was as easy as, like, we don't have any turning back at this point. We're in debt. We're not, you know, we're in debt to not only our bank. You know, we're broke because we had just paid the $2,500 each that we had. So we're broke, and now I'm in debt to my employees because I owe them money tomorrow for payroll. So this is what we're gonna do. It's just not a question. You know, so that was 2012, and again, there was a lot.
That was 2 years after you started.
2 years after we started. Because after, you know, when we started, it was just me and him. After we gained some employees, you know, your expenses shoot up, man.
Right.
And so, but it allowed us to go sell a little bit more and be more active on the street and pull in that book of business that we truly needed.
Did you guys start selling just one-to-one?
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly, man, it was the cold. This is a real funny story. Dan would be mad if I didn't share this one. My first cold call, man. This was before we had any employees or anything. 2008. It was 2010. I was 18, man. It was my first cold call. This was like probably the first week in business. We started this whole list of companies that we were going to call.
I think you almost wasted your time in school.
Yeah, exactly. So I call. My first cold call, it was a concrete company, I believe. Called, I said, yeah, I need to talk to, you know, the owner, the decision maker, whoever I can talk to. I own Top Shelf Embroidery Screen Print, and oh shit! And I hung the phone up. And I dropped the phone right there. Dan was sitting in my office. He's laughing, man. Hung the phone up. I dropped the phone, and I said, I'm done. Never doing a cold call again. He said, well, better figure something out because we got to sell some T-shirts here, man. And about a year later, that company called back and ordered shirts from us.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, hey, you know, and they brought up when I hung up the phone.
They knew? They remembered it?
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, hey, you can leave an impact I mean, they're not always, I got off the phone and said, I'm done.
Right.
I'm hanging it up, not doing this ever again. And it left a certain impact to whoever that was, whether it was the owner or the you know, administration or whoever it was. Like, it left a certain impact. They remembered us. They called us back. Not the best way to ever cold call. My cold calls are a little bit different nowadays. But it's just a funny story because the discouragement that left in my stomach, I mean, I still get a pit in my stomach when I think about it. I'm like, that is just, I froze. I freaked out. I hung up and I said, I'm done. If it wasn't for Dan saying, you better figure it out, dude, because, you know, you can't be done, or
you can't keep
or
selling trucks every week.
Yeah, we don't have any equity in these trucks now. We got to figure out how to pay for them.
Yeah.
You know, so it was that, hey, you know, watch me. You know, let's kind of poke at each other and see what we're both good at. And you know, one thing about me and Dan's partnership is we're completely different guys. You know, we're just two different humans, and that's why I think our business partnerships inside Top Shelf or anything else we do outside of here works so well together. Dan is a super intelligent number guy. Mm-hmm. He's a hell of a salesman.
Operations.
Oh, yeah. And he thinks things through. I've always shot from the hip. I mean, we both shoot from the hip, but he'll stop something before it goes too far because he overthinks, and you know, 99% of the time that's what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And so he's, you know, that's what I think has made our partnership over the last 7.5, 8 years so successful. You know, so kind of picking up still in 2012. You know, business kept going. We kept growing. Would have been 15, 16, 2013, 14-ish. My dad was able to get back involved on a local level. The non-compete was written to an extent where he could help us out locally. So now he could give me his contacts at, you know, the local construction companies and those kind of guys. Again, he couldn't go sell them, but he could, you know, be a little bit more involved. That was 2014, 2000. You know, we kind of keep at this time we're still in the small facility, Fort Collins area, and then 2014 we make the leap over to this building. At that time, my dad could be full force with us. We were his
National? National, yeah.
nationally, his the equity company that
Was
bought
this
him
was
out.
this company that the non-compete was with? Are they still actively? Are they like real competitors
So they
of you guys?
how his non-compete actually came up was they went out of business. Went out of business, and you know, it was the private equity thing. I think that maybe they milked it of whatever they wanted, and then said,
Right.
perfect, let's go bankrupt. And which sucks because I mean, out at his other locations, he had 300 plus employees.
Right.
You know, so running this big operation, all of a sudden, all those people are out of biz. And really, where we got our first shot at a lot of our big contract work was one of the companies that they had. His Indianapolis location had a lot of work in for this company. They didn't tell anybody. They closed the doors. This company called my dad immediately and said, "Do you know anybody that can print?" He said he was actually on a flight at the time. He landed, got this voicemail. He called the gentleman back. He said, "Give me 2 minutes. Let me call my lawyer." And so he called his lawyer, said, "What does this mean?" He says, "If this business has shut their doors and they're no longer operational, your non-compete is voided." And so he called back and he said, "I do, in fact, know somebody in the business, and it's my son. He's been operating the last 4 years. And unfortunately, legally, I haven't been able to tell anybody, haven't been able to share the story of me selling. He basically was dead to our industry for the first 4 years until that non-compete was raised, whatever you want, until that non-compete was raised. And so at that time, he's like, he was still in the water and gas and everything else that he was working on, so he wasn't day in, day out involved yet. As we started growing with some of his customers that came back, you know, we really had one big shot. Came to us and said, "This is what we need. Can you get it done?" And we're like, yeah. Absolutely no idea how we're getting it done, man. We were such a small scale facility compared to what they were used to. So, I mean, it's kind of like the same story of Southwest, you know, running a 4-plane flight pattern with 2 planes. You know, they were really, really good at getting planes in, getting them cleaned out in 9-10 minutes and turning them around to the next flight.
I'd never heard that story.
I'll share that podcast with you because it's
cool.
really, really cool.
Whose podcast is this?
It's NPR. It's Guy Raz.
Okay.
And just a great podcast, but it reminds me a lot of that because we were operating on a shop that was probably 5 times our size, but we were just doing it a little bit more strategic. We were working more hours. We were, me and Dan, we'd get up early. We'd get in there early, get everything prepared. Again, our team that we had has always been really, really good. I think a lot of that is the fact that me and Dan aren't scared to get our elbows dirty and
right.
get in there and kind of get that grind going. And I love that. My favorite part is getting down on this floor and working with our employees and learning about everybody.
How big is your team now?
80 people.
80, yeah.
80
all in this facility?
All in this facility.
Uh-huh. Do you outsource the shipping and driving to...
So, yeah, we have a logistics team here.
Yeah.
But obviously FedEx, we use FedEx mostly.
Yeah.
And then, all the big semi-loads and stuff, we have carriers that we use. A lot of times third party when you're working with, the likes of the NFL and MLB and those kind of guys, they have their own guys that they use and they send them here and good to go. But our logistics team, so we don't have any transportation. We outsource all of that.
Yeah.
We've looked into it, but it never made any sense. I mean, that's like one of those things where
keep doing what you're doing really well.
With the best in the world, like the FedExes of the world, and let them be good at their job and allow us to just print. So those are those points where I look at it, and in 2010, there's 2 of us that had this big vision, and do I think we're at our vision yet? No, but do I think we're pretty well on our way? And you look at that and say, like, for a couple reasons, man. My family's still around. I still got a great family, and 2.5 years ago, we brought my dad back in as an owner, and so he now is here full time, runs production with 2 of our awesome. We have 2 other managers that run the floor. And
you're still cold calling?
Yeah. So my day-to-day role, people ask me this a lot. I work a lot on our corporate side, so I don't do too much. I still have my customers that I won't let go. The ones
Yeah.
from day one.
Yeah.
The Markley Motors of the world, the Front Range Roofings of the world. Some of those guys that were my first real home runs, man.
You have a biz dev team or person though, right? Wasn't Rhett doing that sales for you?
Yeah,
for a
so we
little
have
bit?
5 other sales guys outside of myself and Dan. And the way our business is structured, we have sales guys on the local scene, which locally means really all over the U.S. But they're all located here at our office. And then I also have account managers. And account managers, the way that they operate is more of our in-house, our in-house customers that we're not going out and really driving to get. It's a lot more of our service that keeps them here.
Right.
So we have account managers, exactly.
cross-selling, yeah.
And a lot of that's going to be the branding and the marketing teams that work with the Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies that you see a lot of our printing go to. And then we have the side of our business that is, exactly what Rhett was doing. All of our inside sales that, I got guys here all day, or I got a lot of them out on the street, working with the local construction companies. And, in our situation, oil and gas is amazing. So, those
For
are
branding?
those are
For-
big customers of ours just because hats and their FR gear and everything. So, being right here in this area, those are always big customers of ours. But after my dad got back involved, it was really fun because I was able to get my whole family back involved.
Yeah.
My mom does all of our accounting. And then, it's been really cool because she's had the freedom to be a grandma too for my older sister. And so mom does all the accounting. My younger sister is an account manager that takes care of a big budget number of ours annually. And she has the same story as me, man. She moved
I didn't know you had an older sister.
Yeah, one older sister. And
How old is she?
She's 27.
Oh, okay.
So we're only a year. Me and my sisters are all about
Yeah,
a
because
year
your other
and a half
sister's
apart.
a year younger.
Yeah. And so the reason you wouldn't
So
know
when your
Nikki,
parents
though,
decided they're just going to do the
it
kid
was
thing,
go time.
they're going to do the they're going to
it
do
was
the
go
kid
time.
thing.
They said we're done.
Yeah. So
my
3.
older sister also went to Rocky.
Yep.
She graduated a year early, so I never even got to go to school with her, and that was why I school of choice over there, ironically. But then she's like, I'm done with high school. I want to get out of here. So yeah, older sister, younger sister are the siblings I have, and
I think
and,
I've crossed paths with Sammy,
she'd
right?
be your
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
09?
Yeah, she's the same age as me.
Yeah.
Yep.
She'd be your age. Graduated from Fossil, but
Yep.
she moved to Australia
She
for
probably
a
knows
year.
my sisters.
Oh, I guarantee she
She
does.
graduated. Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee. She went to Australia for a year and then came back, and she's just like, I'm going to go to nursing school over at UNC. Everybody's like, yeah, that'd be awesome, Figure out what the heck you want to do. And she got in a couple months of nursing school, and she called me one day. She was actually working, part-time here.
Mm-hmm.
She was kind of just picking up the tail end of purchasing and, kind of just working QuickBooks and that kind of stuff. And I remember calling, man. She was, distraught. She's crying. She's like, Blake, I need a full-time job. I don't think school's for me. And I said, well, I remember that same conversation because in 2010, 3 months after I started at Front Range Community College, I called my dad and said the same thing. I said, dude, I'm wasting your money. I'm wasting my time. And now I got this business that I can focus on. And he said, that's perfect. Then you're going to figure out your own bills. And that was always our agreement. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure that out then, I guess. Not to know, a year and a half later, I have to be selling my car to make payroll. But, I was the big guy on the block, and I was like, I'll figure that out. And so I remember that same phone call in 2010 to my dad.
Yeah.
And she's making that phone call to me, and I'm like, 2 things. This is pretty cool that she's making this phone call to me because she wants a little guidance here, and I have the ability to give her that because I made that same phone call. I made that same leap in my life, and I said, absolutely, I'll figure out a full-time job for you. And so immediately, man, she's like, I got a job lined up. We're good. She came back to work here full-time, and I was going through some pretty intense hires and some pretty intense just applications and stuff, trying to find a really good account manager. Somebody that would look at this business like me and think that, I could, that they could own it one day, So I'm going through all this and, an expensive salary and trying to, just like, how do I do this? How do I make the right decision? So I made a couple decisions. They weren't the right ones. And I learned the hard way, which is great because it's all learning. I said, well, man, maybe it's Sammy, my sister. for a couple reasons. She knows the business inside and out because she grew up around it just like me. One day, if she wants to have part of this business, she can have part of this business because I'll set that aside for her because of what she's helping out with and what she's doing. And so her big thing, you know, I'm like, it's right here. It's in my back pocket is my next account manager. You know, somebody I'm looking to run a big budget of our business, and it's right here. And so immediately, you know, once I found that, man, she took control of her accounts and she ran with it. And so, you know, for me, for an older brother, anybody who's got any younger siblings, especially sisters, that's badass, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I
That
get to
is
work
cool.
with my dad day in and day out. I get to work with my mom day in and day out.
Does your mom come here in the office?
My
and
mom
stuff
comes
too?
in the office.
Yeah.
She's a little bit more part-time because she does have I got 2 little nephews, man.
That's awesome.
They're awesome, dude. They changed my life and our whole
I want to
family's
be an
life,
uncle
dude.
so badly.
Oh,
I'm
man.
waiting. I'm just waiting
I'm
for
telling you.
my sibling. I have 7 siblings.
No way.
Yeah, so my family's split between 2.
Okay.
Dad's side and mom's side. I'm waiting for
And none?
for one of them. None. No
Oh,
kids.
2.
My sister. We just got our first marriage. My sister
I
just
saw
got
that.
married to awesome dude. We love him.
That's
He's
great,
from
dude.
Pagosa Springs, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, that is I'm telling you, my 2 nephews, man,
It's gotta be
absolutely
awesome.
changed my life.
Yeah.
And it worked out great. I mean, nothing against nieces, but I grew up with 2 sisters, man.
Right.
All I wanted was a brother in my life. And so I ended up getting my first Tucker. He's 5
Uh-huh.
years old. And then a 3-year-old Toby. And that's why I moved from Greeley to Windsor, actually. When Tucker was born, I was like, screw this. I'm lonely here in Greeley anyways. You know, I was able to buy a house down the street from my sister and her husband.
Nice.
And I get to see, I mean, literally, I drive home right now and they're not even a football field away from my house.
That's
So,
awesome.
You know, I didn't want to miss any of that, you know, because there will come a time when I don't get to see that anymore, man. So I'm like, hey, I want to watch these kids grow up. That's the freedom I'm talking about. And that's the stuff that drives me to sell my truck. If I had to sell my truck tomorrow, guess what? I'd go sell my truck again, because it allows me to have the freedom to go, you know, be able to leave here at any time of the day and go see my nephews, you know, get a orange belt in karate like he did last week.
That's
so,
awesome.
You know, that kind of that cool stuff. But that's what brought me back to Windsor. And then about a year ago, just to kind of wrap up the whole family tie of this, our sales team just started growing, and I'm like, I need somebody that can manage people. I need somebody that knows my industry and you know, a little bit, but if not more, can manage big teams, can help me implement certain things with big teams. So my brother-in-law was in between jobs, and you know, he had just ran a massive oil company that him and my dad were involved in with about 400 employees, and him and my sister opened a gym, a boutique gym called Brick House Functional Fitness in Windsor. If you haven't checked it out, you have to. They just opened that, and he's like, man, they don't need me too much over here except to personal train. And I said, I'll use you. So he's our sales manager. So I got the whole family with the exception of my older sister, man.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I'm telling you, it is the most fun, man, because we've done a very good job at figuring out where to leave work and go enjoy being a family, and you know, and it's just, we've learned a lot about each other, you know.
What would you tell to other people who are listening and they're maybe in a family business or even considering getting into a family business?
There's nothing easy about it. I would say that the best thing you got going for you is it's your family. Nobody is going to let you down. My dad's not going to let me, you know, trip and fall. You know, I'm not going to let my younger sister trip and fall. So that you
and in my experience, let you off the hook too.
Oh, 100%. You were the most. That's the other thing. But the good thing is, it goes every which way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be. You know, and my family dynamic was a little different too, because, you know, for the first 6 years of our business, I mean, still to this day, myself and Dan write the paychecks, and so it's a different family dynamic business to where Dad's up here, kids work for the family, and Blake's going to take it over one day, which there is no right or wrong at all in any which way. It's a family business. But it was just different because my dad came in. I remember him sitting down and he said, I kind of want this to be my formal interview. And I said, I'm like, shut the hell up. Like, you want to come back here and work? Like, what's up? And so it was just a completely different atmosphere for us. And it's worked out really, really good. And a lot of that's because the pushing and shoving that can go on in your family is so much deeper than it can go on with any one employee.
Right.
And
I found that too.
You know,
I think it's awesome.
And it's like, you know, there's a lot of times when me and my dad, because we're so much alike, like, let's go walk outside for a second. Because, first of all, if anything transpires past this, no employee should be seeing what happens here, because we're about to go behind the shed and beat the hell out of each other. But the other thing is, that's your family. That's what they're there for. You're going to all help each other in every single situation you're in. And so I think my biggest advice is, like, there is nothing easy about it, but this is the best team you can have, are the people like you and your family. And so, you know, there's going to be a lot of tough times, and you learn those the hard way. That's the other thing, is, like, you know, the hard thing for me has been the generational gap from me and my dad. Mm-hmm. You know, the social media world, the cell phones, the adapting to I get customers that send me text messages and that's their order. You know, my dad doesn't see any of that. My dad's still old school, man, which is fine. I can learn a crap ton from him as well. But there's generational gaps and there's differences. And it's learning one another's traits and then applying them to your business. And if they don't work, then you both have to agree to get rid of it. And, you know, so that's been a really fun one. You know, with my dad, I'm 26, my dad's 55. You know, we got a 20-year difference there. And so it's just one of those things where the patience is huge. And don't let the family shit get involved in your business.
Right.
Business is business, man. Whatever happens outside.
Cut the ties.
Oh God.
Yeah.
If you don't, you'll be the most unhappy person in the world.
Right.
I've seen it not only with myself and my family, but with my family and my family. Yeah. And I think that's the hardest part, is because I'm like, hey, shut up. We're at work. That's where it gets hard, man. Is being the boss to you know, the likes of your mom and your dad and your sister and your brother-in-law. The good thing is, everybody knows how I operate, man. They know when I'm in a bad mood, when not to talk to me, when, you know, something's not going right, and that's when everybody huddles up.
Well, I commend you. Yeah. I commend you, man. That's
you know
tough.
It, man.
You're a leader. You're a leader in a lot of ways. Leader of your family. Leader of your company right now, and it's awesome. It shines through, man. The genuinity of it, it's there.
I appreciate that,
and
a lot, man.
Keep pumping it, man. I'm rooting for you all the way. I think it's awesome.
And I always love, man. I love your passion too, and I think that, you know, that's just a huge thing for every single day. What we do isn't sexy, man. We print shirts.
Right.
We logo stuff. I mean, to me, it's awesome, but to a lot of people, it's just another branding, another way of branding, and it is what it is. So, I mean, your passion for all this stuff, that's truly, like, that's the kind of stuff that gets me fired up to come in here and sell shirts to the next person. You know,
what are your other? You said you have a couple other businesses.
Yeah, so I mean, really the only other ones are some investment stuff and then some real estate outside of here.
Do you do multifamily?
Commercial right now.
You do commercial.
So yeah, I'm gonna multifamily is the next one.
All right.
Multifamily is the next go-to, but our big focus is, you know, we're doing a 27,000 square foot expansion on this current building.
Yep.
That's in the works of breaking ground. And then a potential another shop out in Nashville. So
Nashville.
Yep.
Nashville's a cool city.
That's between us and whoever listens to this awesome podcast today. But still in the works, man. That is not 100% legit, but it's
not California, not New York.
So it's all regional based. New York would be good, except you got a lot of. It's not as far inland as we'd like because everything's regional based. Yep. How much, where can we touch?
So the distribution's better.
It's
in
all
a spot
distribution.
Like Nashville. Yeah.
I lose a lot of jobs over to New York because of shipping.
Yeah.
You know, I lose a lot of jobs.
Shipping
over
costs.
Yeah. Kentucky area is the Nashville. And then this Nashville opportunity kind of hit us in the forehead, and it was something that we wanted to, we were intrigued by and taking some steps forward. But there could potentially be a second location, and those are a couple of my focuses now. So everything outside of here, we got Top Shelf has a lot to focus on our growth.
Yeah.
We've started Q1 of 2018 has been awesome. So it's, put my head down and keep learning what we can learn here and provide a source to everybody that makes their life easier. I mean, that's the other thing is, what we sell, people don't want to spend this much time on. And so how do our sales guys, myself included, and our production guys and our managers and our artists and everybody of that matter, how do we provide something in an easy process to get our products in your hands? And that's, those are our focuses. And how do we make this a more fun industry and make sure that people love the branding that they're wearing?
Right.
And so,
you guys should start a podcast in here.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this thing up, man.
Yeah.
How can people get in contact with you? And any last minute stuff that you would like to share?
I'm going to figure out how people can get in contact with me. Is that bad?
Website,
best
social.
Website's topshelfprinters.com. Personal socials, Blake Burrows 19. And then our top shelf social is topshelf_printers. Obviously, please take a look at that one because that's where we post a lot of our work that we're super proud of.
I like the new website.
Thank you.
Looks good.
Yeah. No, they did a really good job on that. And,
I mean, it's about a year. It's got to be like a year
about
old at this point.
Yeah, maybe even more. But from our old website to our new one, man, it's been a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
And that's just that whole social side, man, is absolutely huge. So to be more interactive on that, but those are the three best ways to get a hold of us. Again, we're located right here in Greeley, Colorado, man.
Come say what up to the
that's
man
it.
himself.
Yeah, you
We're in
gotta
a pretty
swing
cool.
by.
If you're listening to this and you're not, well, I don't post the full video, and you don't see the clip, and you're watching this, it's pretty badass space.
Yeah, it's our whole.
So
our
come
whole
ask
office
Blake
is built a lot like this. So
for
if
a
you're
personal tour.
come by, pick up some swag, some hats, shirts. I always hand out a lot of good logoed stuff just because I believe in branding, man. Invest in the future of your brand.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. So I really appreciate
And
you,
your
man.
brand, you're doing an awesome job.
Well, I
man.
appreciate
So,
that a lot,
yeah.
man. I really appreciate you.
We'll do another one. We'll do
taking
another
the
one
lead,
here.
man.
We'll get Dan in
Yeah.
here, and we'll
That'd be
all
fun to spit
maybe
back
we'll
and forth,
bring
man.
some whiskey out or something,
I love
and
it.
we'll
I got a good
make it a
stock,
party.
man. I got a good stock
Yeah.
of whiskey.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for bearing through the technical glitches. We're working
yeah.
this out, baby. We're working this out.
No, I appreciate it.
Don't
man.
forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.